All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here on the Harmless Dave channel, talking about real music and doing it in real time for a few real people out here, just like you there and just like me here. So, I could have stumbled upon something that no one else has said the way I'm going to say it, or maybe I'm way behind where everyone else is on this particular issue. But you know how people are complaining, including yours truly. But I'm thinking about letting go of my complaining pretty soon. Believe it or not, I'm not going to complain about this anymore. Can you believe it? So, Foreigner right now, the band Foreigner, has how many original members on stage? Anyone? Bueller, zero. They have zero original members. Same with the Little River Band, by the way. And there are a few others out there touring with zero original members or one original person hanging on, two maybe making appearances here or there. I'm thinking about Kansas. That's another band kind of hanging on to one or maybe two original members, depending on what night you go and see them. So I posted something over on Patreon. By the way, if you'd like to become a patron, see how I did that? Shameless plug. You can do so for, I think, like $1 a month, $2 a month, whatever. And you could read these amazing articles that I'm posting over there. They're just me quickly stating something, more or less. I'm not writing like 10 pages. But I thought what I wrote today on this song that I posted was kind of profound, and maybe a little bit different than the way other people have written this or said it. I've been saying this for a while, but I haven't really put it in this language. So let me read this to you. And by the way, I posted a version of the Foreigner song "I Want to Know What Love Is" by the Hindley Street Country Club. Not Hindley, Hindley, I believe. Someone corrected me on that because people love to correct me when I get it wrong. But they're from Australia, and they're really, really good. Now, the title of the post, 29 million views, no original members, just a really good cover band. Now, this is what I wrote. It's pretty short. This down under group of doppelgangers, by the way, I use the term doppelgangers because the mainstream media loves to use that word for whatever reason. Anyway, let me start over. This down under group of doppelgangers brings an impressive level of musicianship to everything they do. I was listening to their version of Eye in the Sky, Alan Parsons. Holy crap, Batman! I was loving it, and then I'm like, no, I've got to do this video. So I stopped listening to it. The keyboard parts, the guitar fills, the phrasing of the lead singer, the atmospherics, all of it add up to musical bliss in a way that is truly satisfying. Now, this is where it gets controversial. This isn't Mick Jones's music or Lou Graham's music anymore. And if, by the way, if you're a Journey fan, it's not necessarily the music of Perry, Kane, and Sean anymore either, right? Now follow me here. This has become the people's music, much like the classical composers of the past. Now, of course, this doesn't mean these guys will stop earning revenue, or their children, or their grandchildren, or their estate. You know, how many years will this go on for? But this is very interesting because it'll go on in perpetuity. And this is the way I figured this out, or I stated it. Maybe someday artists will say performing the works of Jones and Graham. Think of that. There'll be a Jones and Graham section, or just Jones, but I know Lou did some writing. And there will be divided sections at the digital store, not a real brick and mortar store, God forbid, but the digital music store where you can order different orchestras' takes on the works of Jones and Graham. You may say, man, I'm going to order the Hindley Street Country Club's version of I Want to Know What Love Is, because their version is better than the current band representing Foreigner, the name Foreigner. And honestly, they both have the same number of original members in the band. People are holding on to that because now they feel as though they're being ripped off or it's a counterfeit. But this is the future, folks. The future is now. And I wrote, this is how the classics will be preserved for the next 100 years and beyond. It's no longer about original members. And that's what I posted. And if you go listen to the HSCC version of this song, you're going to be like, wow. I mean, if there's no doctoring of the video and so forth, and it's just them up there, their stuff is plugged in. I don't believe there are any overdubs. I listened to it and I was just blown away by it. And I know I've heard it before, but I hadn't listened to it recently. So anyway, let me do a little screen share here so you can just see what these guys look like in case you haven't stumbled upon their work before. Here they are. And I'm not going to play the audio, but 29 million views, folks. 29 million views in 3 years. That's impressive. The people are finding this, and they're not going to, the original or something like that. Although you look at some of these, and yeah, Foreigner, the band in 2010 has 161 million. So these guys are just a cover band. That's what they are. They're not a tribute band. The singer, who I believe is Danny LaPresto, because they're saying featuring Danny LaPresto, is not an exact copy or a sound alike of any of the lead singers that Foreigner has had. It's like 3 of them now. No, 4 if you count Johnny Edwards, I think. So he's just really good. And this band is just really good at what they do. And if you listen to this back, the clarity, the analog, live, but almost studio feel to it, very impressive. Very, very impressive. And honestly, that's the future. That's the future. You'll go in and you'll find, and some people will say, well, why wouldn't I just want to buy the original? Well, the original will always be the best. But if you want to get a live interpretation of these works that you've listened to for many years, you'll go look up the Hindley Street Country Club and you'll be like, yeah, these guys do it the right way. And that's what people do with classical music. Whether it's Beethoven, Mozart, whoever, they'll say, you know what, I like this orchestra's interpretation of Beethoven's Ninth or whatever. And people are like, yeah, that's amazing. That's cool. And so that's where we're headed. Now, rather than being all bummed out about that, people should be happy that there are people out here who want to keep this alive. And kudos to the Hindley Street Country Club for doing that. And there are other bands out there that do this. I think it's the Lexington Lab Band. I've seen some of their videos, and they're meticulous in their renditions of classic rock songs. It gives me hope. You know what, folks? I'd rather go see the Hindley Street Country Club because they're going to play hits, right? They're going to play hits by different people. So it's almost like going to see a compilation of your favorite music, different people. I mean, yeah, man, going to see some 80s tour where there are 3 different artists on the bill, all of which are kind of aging and don't sound the way they used to. So that's another thing. So you can go see an older version of somebody, for instance, like Kevin Cronin or 38 Special, doing these songs, or you can hear them being reinterpreted and not really reimagined, but just being reinterpreted and done in the most precise and pristine way possible, which I think honors the music more so than somebody who's well past their prime, who is attempting to do this music. And, a recent example would be Daryl Hall. Okay. That would be a recent example. These guys, I think, should be doing Hall and Oates all day long because, yeah, there's a need for that. There's definitely a need for that. So anyway, I don't know if this is profound, but this is the future, folks. And you'll go to your music section and you'll be like, okay, this band here or this group of musicians here, they do the music of, say, Pink Floyd. And there is a band out there. There are several Pink Floyd tribute bands that do Pink Floyd better than if Pink Floyd were all still here and together. Brit Floyd, absolutely amazing. Rumors of Fleetwood Mac, absolutely amazing. I've seen them, and why would you go see? I mean, again, you're probably never going to see Fleetwood Mac together again, but if you want to hear that music in a live setting and you don't want it to sound embarrassing, that's the ticket. That's the way to go. So anyway, just a few thoughts, a few nuggets here from the Harmless Dave channel, and this will probably just be something that everybody's already like, yeah, dude, I already knew about this. This is the future. Shut up. I'm sure I'll get lots of fun comments, or I'll get, dude, I'd rather go see somebody who's because they're a legend. I want to see them being wheeled out to us in a wheelchair. That's what I'd rather see. I'm like, I don't want to remember performers doing that. I'd rather remember them in their prime. And then I can, I can remember them in their prime in a more authentic way with people like the Hindley Street Country Club. Seriously. Because then I'll be like, you know what? I want to go back and listen to the original song. And it's really close. And so that's what makes this very cool moving forward. And I know a whole bunch of people will be like, nah, no, this ain't the same. It's never going to be the same as Foreigner in 1981. It's just never going to be that. And I think people need to let that go. All right? So anyway, I know I was rambling. Sometimes people get upset when I ramble. They go, dude's said a whole bunch of stuff and hasn't said anything. So there you go. That's my video.